Before you hear another word, I need you to notice something. Notice where your mind was just 1 second ago. Were you fully here? Or were you already thinking about the next thing? The unread message, the unfinished task, the nagging feeling that you should be doing something else. This is not a flaw in your character. This is a war being waged against your attention. And right now, you are losing. Every 10 minutes, the average person reaches for their phone. 96 times a day, not because they're weak, but because the most brilliant engineers on the planet have spent billions of dollars designing systems specifically to hijack your brain. But here's what fascinates me about you. You didn't scroll past this. You didn't click away. Something inside you, call it intuition, call it desperation, call it the last remaining fragment of your undivided self, made a choice. And that choice led you here, to this exact moment, to this exact sentence. That's not an accident. That's a signal. Because the truth is, focus isn't just a productivity hack. It's the invisible line that separates those who dream from those who build, those who react from those who create, those who exist from those who truly live. Over the next chapters, you will learn 30 techniques that have been extracted from neuroscience laboratories, elite performance centers, and the private routines of history's most accomplished minds. These are not theories. These are weapons. And by the time you finish this book, your scattered, fragmented attention will be forged into something unbreakable. But first, you need to understand what's really happening inside your brain and why everything you've been told about focus is wrong. Let me tell you what's really happening. Your brain wasn't designed for the world you're living in. Evolution prepared you for open savannas, immediate physical threats, and small tribal communities. Not for 47 browser tabs, 312 unread emails, and a device in your pocket that's literally engineered to hijack your attention. Tech companies employ thousands of the world's smartest psychologists and neuroscientists. Their job? Make their apps as addictive as possible. And they're winning. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. You're not lazy. You're not undisciplined. You're not broken. You're fighting a war against billion-dollar corporations whose entire business model depends on stealing your focus. The average person loses 2.1 hours per day to digital distractions. That's 32 days per year. By the time you're 70, you'll have spent 6 full years of your life scrolling through content you won't even remember. Think about that for a second. 6 years. Gone. Most people accept this as normal. They shrug and say, that's just how life is now. They watch their dreams slip away, one notification at a time, convincing themselves they'll start that project tomorrow, next week, someday. But elite performers think differently. They understand something crucial. Focus isn't a personality trait you're born with. It's a skill, a muscle. And like any muscle, you can train it. You can make it stronger. You can take it from weak and flabby to powerful and resilient. The question is, are you ready to do the work? The cost of distraction. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine two people, both 25 years old, both equally intelligent, both with similar opportunities. Let's call them Alex and Jordan. Alex works in bursts, checks phone between tasks, scrolls social media during lunch, watches Netflix while working in the evening. Gets things done, sure, but nothing exceptional. Average output, average results, average life. Jordan works differently. Phone stays in another room during focus sessions. Social media limited to 30 minutes per day. Deep work blocks scheduled like important meetings. Every hour of focused attention guarded like gold. Fast forward 10 years. Alex is still in the same position, wondering why opportunities pass by, confused about why that promotion went to someone else, frustrated that ideas never seemed to fully materialize. The hours were put in. The effort was there. Sort of. Jordan. 3 promotions. 2 successful side projects that generated passive income. A book published. Recognized as an expert in their field. Not because of superior intelligence. Not because of luck. Because of one simple difference. The ability to focus. This is the reality most people don't see until it's too late. Focus isn't just about getting more work done. It's about the quality of your entire life. It's about actually finishing what you start. It's about being present with people you love instead of mentally checking out. It's about experiencing life deeply instead of skimming the surface. Here's what the science tells us. When you're interrupted, it takes an average of 23 minutes to return to full focus on your original task. 23 minutes. Now multiply that by every notification, every quick check, every time someone taps your shoulder. The math is brutal. Most knowledge workers never achieve more than 90 consecutive minutes of deep focus in an entire day. Meanwhile, studies of elite performers across every field, from athletes to CEOs to artists, reveal one consistent pattern. They protect their attention like their life depends on it. Because it does. The 3 foundation principles. Now, here's where we begin your transformation. The first 3 techniques aren't fancy. They're not sexy, but they're absolutely essential. Think of them as the foundation of a house. Skip them, and everything else crumbles. First principle, the honest inventory. Before you can fix your focus, you need to know where it's going. Right now, today, not where you think it's going, where it's actually going. For the next 3 days, you're going to track every single thing that captures your attention. Every phone check, every random thought, every interruption. Use a simple notebook. Don't judge, just observe. Most people resist this exercise. They say they already know. They don't need to track it. Here's the truth. Everyone who actually does this exercise is shocked. Absolutely shocked. Because we lie to ourselves. We say we checked our phone a few times. The data shows 67 times. We claim we focused for a couple hours. The log reveals 17 minutes of actual focus, broken into 3-minute chunks. Elite performers measure everything. Average people guess. Which one are you going to be? Second principle, the single task rule. Multitasking is a lie. Your brain doesn't actually do 2 things at once. It switches rapidly between tasks, and every switch has a cost. Research from Stanford University found that people who regularly multitask perform significantly worse on cognitive tests than those who focus on one thing at a time. Here's your new rule: one thing at a time. Period. When you're writing, you're only writing. When you're in a meeting, you're only in that meeting. When you're eating, you're only eating. Try this right now. If you're doing something else while listening to this, stop. Give this your complete attention. Feel the difference? That slight discomfort? That urge to reach for your phone? That's your addiction talking. That's the distraction muscle that's been overdeveloped for years. It doesn't want to give up control. Push through it. Third principle, the environment reset. Your environment is either supporting your focus or destroying it. There's no middle ground. Look around right now. How many distractions are within arm's reach? Your phone, probably. Maybe a TV. Perhaps other people. Clutter on your desk. 15 tabs open on your browser. Every single one of these is a leak in your focus. Small leaks sink ships. And small distractions destroy deep work. The environment reset is simple but not easy. Remove every non-essential item from your workspace. Every single one. If it's not directly related to the task at hand, it doesn't belong there. Period. Your phone, different room. Not face down on the desk. Not in a drawer. Different room. Elite performers know that willpower is limited. They don't rely on it. They design their environment so the right choice is the easy choice. Think about the last time you said, "I'll just check this real quick." How quick was it really? 5 minutes turned into 20. One video became 10. That quick email check spiraled into an hour of inbox management. This is why average people rely on willpower. They keep the temptation close and try to resist it. Elite people remove the temptation entirely. They understand that discipline isn't about being strong enough to resist. It's about being smart enough not to put yourself in situations where you need to resist in the first place. The reality check. Here's something nobody tells you about focus. It's uncomfortable at first. Your brain has been trained to expect constant stimulation. Dopamine hits every few minutes. Novelty, variety, quick switches. When you try to focus on one thing for an extended period, your brain throws a tantrum. It screams for distraction. It invents urgent tasks. It creates artificial emergencies. This is normal. This is expected. This is the addiction breaking. Most people give in at this point. They decide they're just not a focused person. They convince themselves that constant distraction is their natural state. It's not. It's a conditioned state. And what's been conditioned can be reconditioned. You're at a crossroads right now. One path leads back to the comfortable chaos of scattered attention. Busy but not productive. Active but not effective. The other path, the one these three foundation principles start you on, leads somewhere different. It's harder at first. It requires facing that discomfort. But it's the only path that leads to the life you actually want. The choice seems obvious when stated like that, doesn't it? Yet most people still choose the first path. They choose it every single day. Every time they reach for their phone during a moment of boredom. Every time they switch tasks because the current one feels too hard. Every time they tell themselves they'll start tomorrow. But you're still here, still listening. That means something. That means you're ready for something different. The next chapter is going to take you deeper. We're going to explore exactly how your brain works, why it craves distraction, and how to rewire it for sustained focus. But none of that matters if you don't implement these three foundation principles first. They're simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. So here's your decision point. Are you going to actually do this? Start the honest inventory today. Commit to single tasking for your next work session. Reset your environment before tomorrow morning. Or are you going to nod along? Think, that's interesting, and change nothing? Because here's the final truth of this chapter. Information without implementation is just entertainment. You can know every focus technique in the world. It won't matter if you don't use any of them. The time for knowing is over. The time for doing starts now. Chapter 2. Understanding your brain. You made the decision. You're doing the honest inventory. Your environment is cleaner. You're practicing single tasking. And something strange is happening. Your brain is fighting back. Hard. Every 15 minutes, a voice whispers, just check your phone. Just one peek. You might be missing something important. This isn't weakness. This is neuroscience. Your brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The problem is, it's optimized for a world that no longer exists. And until you understand how it works, you're fighting blind. This chapter changes that. Because once you see the machinery behind your attention, once you understand why distraction feels so good and focus feels so hard, everything shifts. You stop being a victim of your brain and become its architect. The two systems. Your brain runs on two primary attention systems. Let's call them the spotlight and the floodlight. The spotlight is your focused attention. It's narrow, intense, exhausting. It's what you use when you're solving a complex problem, writing something important, or learning a new skill. The spotlight can only illuminate one thing at a time. Try to shine it on two things simultaneously, and it just flickers rapidly between them, creating the illusion of multitasking. The floodlight is your diffuse attention. It's broad, passive, easy. It's what you use when you're scanning social media, watching TV, or daydreaming. The floodlight doesn't require effort. It just washes over everything, picking up whatever's most stimulating in the environment. Here's what most people don't understand. These systems compete for the same resources. When one is active, the other dims. And here's the kicker. Your floodlight is much stronger. It's the default. It's been your survival system for hundreds of thousands of years, designed to scan for threats and opportunities. Your spotlight? That's new. Recent. Evolutionarily speaking, it barely exists. This is why focus feels hard. You're trying to engage a weak system while suppressing a strong one. It's like trying to whisper in a room full of people shouting. The whisper isn't broken. It's just overwhelmed. Elite performers understand this. Average people don't. The dopamine trap. Let's talk about why your phone feels so good and your work feels so hard. One word, dopamine. Dopamine is your brain's reward chemical. It's released when you experience something pleasurable or when you anticipate something pleasurable. Here's the crucial part, anticipation. Your brain releases dopamine not when you get the reward, but when you expect it might be coming. This is why slot machines are addictive. This is why you can't stop checking your phone. Variable reward schedules. Sometimes there's a message. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes it's boring. Your brain never knows. So it releases dopamine every single time you reach for your phone, hoping this might be the time something good happens. Tech companies know this. They've weaponized it. Every pull to refresh, every notification badge, every autoplay video, all designed to trigger that dopamine release. All engineered to keep you coming back. Now compare that to your work. Writing a report? No dopamine until it's done. Hours away. Studying. Reward comes at test time. Weeks away. Building a business. Maybe years before significant dopamine hits. Your brain looks at these options and screams, phone, phone, phone now. Guaranteed dopamine in 3 seconds. This is the battle, and most people don't even know they're fighting it. Here's the truth the self-help industry doesn't want you to know. You can't out-motivate bad brain chemistry. You can't willpower your way through dopamine addiction. The average person checks their phone within 3 minutes of waking up. 3 minutes. Before coffee. Before bathroom. Before saying good morning to the person sleeping next to them. If that's not addiction, what is? But here's the good news. Understanding the trap is the first step out of it. Fourth principle, the attention audit. This goes deeper than the honest inventory from Chapter 1. Now that you understand the two systems, you're going to identify which system you're using throughout your day. Get a notebook. For 1 full week, every hour, write down what you were doing. Spotlight or floodlight. Energy level, 1 to 10. Quality of focus, 1 to 10. Most people discover they spend 90% of their day in floodlight mode. Scrolling, browsing, reacting, never actually choosing where their attention goes. Just letting it bounce around like a pinball, following whatever's brightest and loudest. Elite performers flip this ratio. They spend 60 to 70% of their productive hours in spotlight mode. Deep, intentional, directed. This isn't about working more hours. It's about using the hours you work completely differently. Let me give you a comparison. Average professional, 8 hours at desk. Maybe 2 hours of actual spotlight work, broken into 15-minute chunks. 6 hours of floodlight pseudo work. Feels busy, feels productive, accomplishes little of real value. Elite professional, 4 hours of protected spotlight work. 2 90-minute blocks with 30-minute break between. Twice the depth in half the time. The rest of the day? Floodlight activities that actually benefit from broader attention. Meetings, emails, planning. Same 24 hours. Completely different results. Fifth principle, brain fuel optimization. Your brain is 2% of your body weight, but uses 20% of your energy. When you're in spotlight mode, it uses even more. And just like a car, the fuel you put in determines the performance you get out. Here's what most people do. Wake up. Skip breakfast or grab something sugary. Coffee. More coffee. Lunch at desk. Barely tasting food. Afternoon crash. Energy drink. Dinner while watching TV. Wonder why they can't focus. Here's what elite performers do differently. They eat breakfast. Real food. Protein. Healthy fats. They understand that glucose stability determines cognitive stability. No glucose spikes means no crashes means sustained spotlight capacity. They hydrate. Most people walk around mildly dehydrated all day. Even 2% dehydration reduces cognitive function by 20%. 20%. You're literally making yourself dumber by not drinking water. They time their caffeine. Not first thing in the morning when cortisol is naturally high. 90 minutes after waking. And they don't exceed 400 milligrams daily. Because too much caffeine doesn't increase focus. It increases anxiety, which destroys focus. They treat food as fuel, not entertainment. They ask, will this help or hurt my next spotlight session? If it's going to make you sluggish, save it for after your deep work is done. But here's what nobody talks about. The biggest brain fuel isn't what you eat. It's what you don't eat. Decision fatigue. Your brain has a limited pool of decision-making energy. Every choice depletes it slightly. What to wear? What to eat? Which task to do first? Should I check my phone? Should I respond to that email? By noon, most people have made hundreds of micro decisions, and their decision-making fuel is running on empty. Elite performers eliminate unnecessary decisions. Same breakfast every day. Same work uniform. Same morning routine. Not because they lack creativity, because they understand that decisions are expensive, and they're saving that currency for things that actually matter. Steve Jobs, black turtleneck. Mark Zuckerberg, gray t-shirt. Obama, blue or gray suit. These people could afford any wardrobe in the world. They chose simplicity, not because they're fashion challenged, because they're focus optimized. Sixth principle, strategic recovery. This is the principle most people completely misunderstand. They think more focus means more grinding. Push harder. Work longer. Sleep when you're dead. Here's the reality. Your spotlight system is a muscle. And like any muscle, it needs recovery to grow stronger. Work it without rest, and it doesn't get stronger. It gets weaker, chronically weaker. Elite athletes don't train 24/7. They train hard, then recover completely. Elite performers apply the same logic to mental work. Here's your new framework: 90 minutes on, 20 minutes off. Not kind of off while checking emails. Completely off. Different activity, different brain system. During your 90-minute spotlight session, no exceptions, no compromises. You're all in. Phone in different room. Email closed. Door closed. Single task. Deep focus. During your 20-minute recovery, movement. Not more screen time. Not social media. Walk. Stretch. Close your eyes. Stare at something far away to rest your visual system. Let your floodlight take over completely. Most people do the opposite. They have focus for hours, taking little breaks to check their phone, never fully engaging either system. It's like jogging when you should be sprinting, then sprinting when you should be resting. You get all the exhaustion with none of the benefits. Research shows that your brain needs these recovery periods, not just for rest, but for processing. During spotlight work, you're taking in information. During recovery, your brain is consolidating it, making connections, solving problems in the background. Skip the recovery, and you're skipping half the learning process. Think about the last time you had a breakthrough idea. Where were you? Probably not at your desk grinding. Probably in the shower. Or on a walk. Or about to fall asleep. That's not coincidence. That's your floodlight system doing what it does best, making connections across broad information networks. Elite performers schedule recovery like they schedule work. Average people feel guilty about recovery. They think breaks mean laziness. So they never fully work and never fully rest. Just a gray middle zone of perpetual medium effort. The brain-body connection. Here's something that will change how you think about focus forever. Your brain isn't separate from your body. The old model of mind separate from matter? Completely wrong. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol. Cortisol shuts down your prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex is your spotlight system. See the problem? Stress literally makes you stupider. Physiologically stupider. When you're sleep deprived, your brain can't clear out metabolic waste products. These build up, cloud your thinking, reduce focus capacity by up to 40%. One night of poor sleep, and you're operating at less than 2/3 capacity. When you sit all day, blood flow decreases. Less blood flow means less oxygen to the brain. Less oxygen means worse performance. Studies show that people who take a 5-minute walk every hour perform significantly better on cognitive tests than those who sit continuously. Your focus isn't just mental. It's physical. Elite performers treat their body like the foundation of their cognitive performance. Because that's exactly what it is. Average people, I'll exercise when I have time. Elite people, I'll make time for exercise because it multiplies the effectiveness of all my other time. Average people, I'll sleep less to get more done. Elite people, I'll protect my sleep because it determines the quality of everything I do. Average people, my focus is mental, my body is separate. Elite people, my body is the hardware my mind runs on. Better hardware, better performance. The compound effect. Here's what happens when you implement principles 4, 5, and 6 together. Week 1 feels hard. Your brain is still expecting constant dopamine hits. You're fighting the addiction. Energy levels might actually drop as your body adjusts to fewer stimulants and more real food. Week 2, something shifts. You notice you can focus for 30 minutes straight without that desperate urge to check your phone. Your afternoon crashes are less severe. You're sleeping better. Week 3, your spotlight sessions extend to 45 minutes, then 60. You start experiencing something you'd almost forgotten: flow states. Those rare moments when time disappears and you're completely absorbed in what you're doing. Week 4, people start noticing. You seem different, more focused, more present. Your output hasn't just increased. The quality has jumped. You're not just doing more, you're doing better. This is the compound effect. Small changes, daily practice, exponential results over time. But here's the catch. You have to actually do it. You have to implement these principles, not just understand them. Knowledge without action is just trivia. Understanding without practice changes nothing. So here's your reality check. Are you actually going to do the attention audit? Are you going to change what you eat tomorrow morning? Are you going to implement the 90/20th cycle for your next work session? Because the information is useless without implementation. And implementation is where most people fail. They read, they nod, they agree, they change nothing. Don't be most people. The next chapter is going to give you the environmental design strategies that make focus automatic instead of exhausting. But all of that is built on the foundation we've laid here. Understanding your brain isn't just interesting. It's essential, because you can't change what you don't understand. Your brain is the most sophisticated piece of machinery in the known universe, and you're its operator. The question is, are you going to be a skilled operator or a careless one? The choice, as always, is yours. Chapter 3. Environmental Design. Your brain is working better now. You understand the systems. You're fueling it properly. You're taking strategic breaks. But there's still a problem. Every time you sit down to focus, your environment fights you. Your phone is within reach. Your desk faces a window with constant movement. People interrupt you every 20 minutes. And you're wondering why focus still feels like swimming upstream. Here's what elite performers know that average people don't. Willpower is overrated. Environment is everything. You cannot out-discipline a bad environment. You just can't. It doesn't matter how motivated you are. If your workspace is designed for distraction, you will be distracted. Every single time. This isn't a moral failing. It's basic neuroscience. Your brain responds to environmental cues automatically, below conscious awareness. The solution isn't to fight harder. It's to design better. This chapter is about weaponizing your environment, making the right choices automatic and the wrong choices difficult. When your environment is optimized, focus isn't a battle. It's the path of least resistance. The visual field principle. Right now, look around your workspace. Everything you can see without moving your head is in your visual field. Every single item in that field is a potential attention magnet. Here's what most people's workspace looks like. Computer screen in center. Phone on desk. Stack of papers to the left. Coffee mug. Random notebook. Picture frame. Fidget spinner. Stress ball. Charging cables. Sticky notes everywhere. Each one screaming, "Look at me. Think about me." Your brain processes all of this constantly, even when you're not consciously aware of it. Each item creates a tiny cognitive tax, a micro-decision, a moment of potential distraction. Multiply that by dozens of items, and your cognitive load is maxed out before you even start working. Elite performers understand this. Their workspace is surgical, minimal, intentional. One screen, one task-relevant item, nothing else. Not because they're obsessive, because they understand that visual noise creates mental noise. Seventh principle, the Sparta workspace. Spartans were famous for their minimalism. No excess, no waste, only what's essential. Your workspace needs the same philosophy. Here's your new rule. If it's not directly related to your current task, it doesn't exist in your visual field. Start with a complete reset. Remove everything from your desk. Everything. Put it all in a box. Now, only bring back what you need for the specific task you're about to do. Writing? Bring back your computer. That's it. Reading? Bring back the book and a notebook. Nothing else. Most people resist this. They say, "But I might need that later." Elite performers ask, "Do I need it right now?" If the answer is no, it stays out of sight. Let me tell you about Marcus, a software developer who couldn't figure out why he was so easily distracted. Smart guy, motivated, but constantly interrupted by his own thoughts. We did an environmental audit. His desk had 47 visible items. 47, each one a potential distraction trigger. We stripped it down. Computer, keyboard, mouse. Nothing else. His phone went in a drawer in a different room. His coffee mug stayed in the kitchen until break time. Papers went in a closed filing cabinet. First day, he felt anxious, naked. By day 3, something shifted. His focus sessions extended from 20 minutes to 45, then to 75. Same brain, Different environment. 6 months later, Marcus told me, I spent years trying to fix my focus through willpower. The answer was just removing stuff from my desk. Eighth principle, the sensory bubble. Your visual field is only part of the equation. Your ears are constantly scanning too. And unlike your eyes, you can't close your ears. Background noise destroys focus, even if you think you're used to it. Studies show that intermittent noise, the kind you get in open offices or coffee shops, reduces cognitive performance by up to 66%. 66%. You're literally operating at one-third capacity because of sound. But here's where it gets interesting. The wrong kind of silence is also a problem. Complete silence makes every small sound amplified and distracting. The hum of a computer, someone walking by, your own breathing. Elite performers use strategic sound, white noise, brown noise, or music without lyrics at specific volumes. Not loud enough to be stimulating, just loud enough to mask irregular sounds that would grab attention. Here's your framework. For deep analytical work, brown noise or binaural beats at 40 to 60 decibels. Masked distractions without creating new ones. For creative work, ambient music without lyrics. Coffee shop sounds if that's your preference, but controlled through headphones, not actual coffee shops where you can't control the environment. For learning new information, silence or very quiet classical music. Anything more competes with your working memory. Average people work wherever and think they're adapting. Elite people create audio environments that enhance their cognitive state. They don't adapt to distraction. They eliminate it. And here's the critical part. Good headphones are not a luxury. They're a tool. Noise-canceling headphones might be the single best focus investment you ever make. $200 that saves you hundreds of hours of broken concentration. Think about it. You'll spend $6 on coffee without blinking. But you hesitate to invest in equipment that fundamentally changes your productivity? That's backwards. Ninth principle, the location stack. Your brain creates associations between locations and activities. Bed equals sleep. Couch equals relaxation. Kitchen equals eating. These associations are powerful and mostly unconscious. Here's the problem. Most people try to do everything in one place. They work from bed. They relax at their desk. They eat while working. They wonder why their brain is confused and can't focus. Your brain doesn't know whether to be in focus mode or rest mode because you've trained it that this location means both. It's like trying to sprint and sleep simultaneously. Doesn't work. Elite performers use location stacking. Different places for different mental states. Work location only for spotlight activities. Never for entertainment. Never for eating. Never for scrolling. Your brain learns. This spot equals deep focus. After a few weeks, sitting in this location automatically shifts you into focus mode. Rest location only for recovery. No work allowed. No checking work emails real quick. This is where your brain decompresses. Keep it sacred. Movement location, where you go for active breaks. Could be a specific walking route. Could be a spot where you do stretches. Signals to your brain, active recovery, not passive consumption. Most people don't have the luxury of separate rooms for everything. That's fine. Use corners. Use different chairs. Use different sides of the same table. The key is consistency and separation. Let me give you a comparison. Average person works from bed until noon. Moves to couch. Works while watching TV. Falls asleep on couch. Wakes up. Works from bed again. No boundaries. No clear signals. Brain is perpetually confused about what state it should be in. Elite person, morning work block at desk. Nothing else happens at this desk. Break on balcony or outside. Lunch away from workspace. Afternoon work session at desk again. Evening on couch, zero work. Clear signals. Clear boundaries. Brain knows exactly what mode to enter based on location. Same apartment. Completely different relationship with space. The tech zone trap. Here's a truth bomb that's going to sting. Your phone doesn't belong in your workspace. At all. Ever. Not face down. Not in a drawer. Not on silent. In a different room. But that makes people uncomfortable. What if there's an emergency? They ask. Here's the reality. Actual emergencies are incredibly rare. What we call emergencies are usually just inconveniences that we've trained people to expect immediate responses to. Your availability is not a virtue. Your responsiveness is not a personality trait. These are choices. And every time you choose to be instantly available, you're choosing to be constantly distracted. Elite performers batch their communication. They have specific times when they check messages. 3 times per day: morning, midday, end of day. Not constantly. Not whenever the phone buzzes. This makes people nervous. But my boss expects fast replies. Does your boss actually expect that? Or have you trained them to expect it by always responding immediately? Have you considered that producing better work might matter more than responding faster to routine messages? Most urgent messages can wait 2 hours. Test it. You'll be shocked how few things actually require immediate attention. And the things that do, people know how to reach you in real emergencies. They'll call. They'll find you. But here's what happens when you're not constantly checking. Your spotlight sessions deepen. Your work quality improves. You produce in 3 focused hours what used to take you 8 fragmented hours. Your value increases because your output increases. Average people are available all the time and productive none of the time. Elite people are available at specific times and productive the rest of the time. The clutter principle. Physical clutter creates mental clutter. This isn't just a nice saying. It's measurable neuroscience. Princeton researchers used fMRI to study brain activity in cluttered versus organized environments. In cluttered spaces, the visual cortex was constantly activated, processing all the stimuli. This constant processing drained cognitive resources. In organized spaces, the visual cortex could rest, freeing up mental energy for actual thinking. Your environment is either feeding your focus or draining it. Every pile of papers, every random item, every unfinished project visible in your space, all of it creates subtle stress, pulling at your attention. Here's your implementation: end-of-day reset. Before you finish work, clear your workspace completely. Everything put away. Surface clean. Ready for tomorrow. 5 minutes that transforms your morning start. Most people leave their workspace as a disaster. Papers everywhere. Half-finished tasks scattered around. They come back the next morning and spend 20 minutes just figuring out where they left off. Mental energy wasted before real work even begins. Elite performers end clean. Start clean. 0 transition time. Sit down and go. Immediately. Think about pilots. Before every flight, they do a pre-flight check. Same checklist. Every time. Not because they forget how to fly. Because preparation creates consistency, and consistency creates excellence. Your workspace deserves the same respect. The implementation reality. Now comes the hard part. Everything in this chapter is simple. None of it is easy. Because implementing these principles means confronting your habits, your excuses, your resistance. You're going to want to keep your phone nearby just in case. You're going to resist clearing your desk because it feels too extreme. You're going to skip the end-of-day reset because you're tired. Do it anyway, not because you're disciplined. Because you understand that every environmental compromise is a focus compromise. Every just this once becomes just like always. Here's what I want you to do right now. Not later. Not tomorrow. Right now. Look at your workspace. Identify 3 things that don't need to be there. Remove them. Physically get up and remove them. Did you do it? Or did you keep reading? If you kept reading, you're prioritizing information over implementation. That's the trap. You think gathering more knowledge will somehow make the action easier. It won't. Action makes action easier. Start small. Start now. The next chapter is going to show you how to manage your digital environment with the same precision we've applied to your physical space. But none of that matters if your physical workspace is still sabotaging you. Your environment is either your ally or your enemy. There's no neutral. Every choice you make in designing your space is either helping or hurting your focus. The question isn't whether your environment affects you. The question is, are you going to design it intentionally or let it design you? Elite performers take control. Average people accept whatever environment they're in and complain about their focus. Which one are you? Chapter 4. Digital Detox Strategies. Your physical workspace is clean, minimal, optimized, but there's still a problem. The biggest distraction isn't on your desk. It's in your pocket. And it's not just any distraction. It's a carefully engineered attention extraction machine designed by the smartest psychologists and engineers money can buy. Your smartphone. Here's a statistic that should terrify you. The average person touches their phone 2,617 times per day. Not checks, touches, swipes, taps, types. 2,617 times. If you're awake for 16 hours, that's once every 22 seconds. Think about that. Every 22 seconds, your hand reaches for your phone. Sometimes you're aware of it. Most times you're not. It's become so automatic, so reflexive, that it's happening below conscious awareness. You're literally addicted. And addiction doesn't respond to willpower. It responds to systems. This chapter is about breaking free, not by going off the grid or becoming a digital hermit, but by establishing control, by deciding when and how technology serves you instead of letting it decide how you spend your life. The dopamine factory. Let's talk about what's really happening when you pick up your phone. Your brain is searching for dopamine. Specifically, it's searching for the possibility of dopamine. Remember from chapter 2, your brain doesn't release dopamine when you get the reward. It releases it in anticipation of the reward. This is why you can spend 2 hours scrolling and feel empty afterwards. You're chasing the hit, the like, the message, the notification, the thing that makes you feel connected, important, validated. But most of what you find is nothing. Empty calories, digital junk food. Tech companies have optimized their apps for maximum engagement. Translation, maximum addiction. They use variable reward schedules, the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. Sometimes you pull down to refresh and get something interesting. Sometimes you don't. Your brain never knows. So it keeps trying. One more check, one more scroll, one more chance. Average people think they're choosing to use their phone. Elite performers understand they're being manipulated by billion-dollar behavior modification systems. And the first step to breaking free is admitting you have a problem. So let's do that right now. You have a problem. I have a problem. We all have a problem. The phone is winning. And it will keep winning until you change the rules of the game. 10th principle, the 60-minute fortress. This principle is simple but brutal. No phone for the first 60 minutes after waking up. Most people grab their phone within 3 minutes of opening their eyes. Before their brain is even fully conscious, they're flooding it with other people's priorities, problems, and perspectives. Email, news, social media, messages. Within 5 minutes, they've hijacked their own day. Your morning sets your entire day's trajectory. Start reactive, and you'll stay reactive. Start distracted, and you'll stay distracted. Start letting your phone dictate your attention, and it will own your attention all day long. Elite performers protect their morning like a fortress. First hour is sacred. No phone, no email, no news, no exceptions. This is when they set their intention, review their goals, do their most important thinking, exercise, meditate. Whatever their ritual is, the phone doesn't exist during it. Here's what this looks like practically. Your phone doesn't sleep in your bedroom. Period. It charges in a different room. You have an actual alarm clock, not your phone. When you wake up, you don't check your phone. You do your morning routine. Only after 60 minutes, after you've established your own frame for the day, do you allow the outside world in. Average people let their phone set their mood before they've even gotten out of bed. Elite people set their own mood, then engage with technology on their terms. The resistance to this is immediate. But what if there's an emergency? The same emergency excuse everyone uses. Here's the truth. If there's a real emergency, someone will find you. Real emergencies are incredibly rare. What we call emergencies are usually just other people's lack of planning becoming our problem. But I need my phone as an alarm. No, you need an alarm. Get a $10 alarm clock. Don't give your phone a reason to be in your bedroom. 11th principle, the nuclear option. This one makes people uncomfortable. Good. It should. Because this is where you draw a line in the sand and defend it like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Delete social media apps from your phone. All of them. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn. All of them. Gone. Watch the reaction this creates in you. Notice the panic, the resistance, the immediate excuses. But I need it for work. But I need to stay connected. But I'll miss important things. That reaction? That's addiction talking. That's your brain screaming because its drug supply is being threatened. Here's the reality. You don't need social media on your phone. Nobody does. It's not food. It's not shelter. It's not even connection, not real connection anyway. It's a simulation of connection that's actually making you more isolated, more anxious, and more distracted. Elite performers understand that social media is a tool, not a lifestyle. They use it when they choose to use it. Desktop only. Scheduled times. Controlled doses. They don't carry it in their pocket like a digital pacifier, reaching for it every time they feel bored or uncomfortable. Let me tell you about Sarah. Marketing executive. Needed Instagram for work. Checked it 40 to 60 times per day. Thought she was being productive, staying current with trends. We deleted the app from her phone. She could still access it on her desktop, twice a day, scheduled times. First week was hell. Phantom phone checks. Reaching for something that wasn't there. Second week, something shifted. She noticed she was present in conversations. Third week, she realized she'd finished 3 major projects that had been stuck for months. Same person, same intelligence, different relationship with technology. For months later, she told me, I thought I needed constant access. What I actually needed was to be freed from constant distraction. But here's the crucial point. This isn't about demonizing social media. It's about controlling access. Desktop only means you're choosing to engage, not reflexively checking. It means when you're out in the world, you're actually in the world, not looking at it through a screen. 12th principle, notification annihilation. Your phone is set up wrong. Every app wants permission to notify you. Every company wants to interrupt your life. And unless you've consciously changed settings, you've given them all permission. Here's what elite performers know. Every notification is a focus killer, not just in the moment it arrives. For the next 23 minutes while your brain tries to return to deep focus. Your new rule: no notifications except actual phone calls from actual people who actually matter. Everything else off. Email, off. Apps, off. Messages, off. News, off. Everything. Average people carry a device that interrupts them every 3 to 7 minutes all day long. They wonder why they can't focus. Elite people carry a device that only interrupts them when they've explicitly decided interruption is acceptable. Here's how to implement this right now. Take out your phone. Go to Settings. Go to Notifications. Start at the top of the list. Turn off every notification except phone calls and maybe texts from starred contacts. Everything else dies. You'll feel naked at first. Anxious. Like you're going to miss something important. You won't. Here's what you'll miss. 127 notifications per day that added 0 value to your life. What you'll gain: hours of uninterrupted focus. Let's do the math. If each notification breaks your focus for just 2 minutes, that's 254 minutes per day. Over 4 hours. For hours lost to meaningless interruptions. Multiply that by 365 days. That's 61 days per year. 2 full months of your life. Gone. Because you let apps interrupt you. Elite performers understand that attention is the most valuable resource in the modern economy. Average people give it away for free, 1 notification at a time. The phone ritual. Here's an advanced implementation that combines all 3 principles. The phone ritual. Morning. First 60 minutes phone doesn't exist. You're off the grid. No exceptions. Work blocks. 90-minute sprints, phone in different room, on silent. You'll check it during your 20-minute breaks. Not before. Check windows. 3x per day, 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m. You have 15 minutes to respond to everything that needs responding to. Then phone goes away again. Evening. After 8 p.m. phone goes on airplane mode. No more inputs. Day is done. This gives you structured access without constant availability. Your brain learns. Phone exists in windows, not constantly. After 2 weeks, the anxiety fades. After a month, you can't imagine going back. Compare this to average people. Phone always accessible. Always checking. Always available. Never fully focused. Never fully present. Always slightly distracted. living their entire life in a gray zone between engagement and escape. Which life do you want? The resistance pattern. Everything in this chapter will trigger resistance. Your brain will generate beautiful excuses. My situation is different. My job requires constant availability. I'm not as addicted as other people. These are lies. Comfortable lies. But lies nonetheless. Here's the truth. Unless you're a trauma surgeon on call, you don't need to be instantly reachable. Unless you're managing nuclear power plants, your work can wait 2 hours. Unless you're coordinating disaster relief, your messages aren't that urgent. We've created a culture of false urgency. Everything feels important. Nothing actually is. And in treating everything as urgent, we've lost the ability to identify what actually matters. Elite performers are comfortable being temporarily unreachable. They've trained their colleagues, their clients, their friends. I respond within business hours, not within business minutes. And you know what happens? Nothing. People adjust. They respect the boundary. And the work improves because it's done with focus instead of fragmented attention. Average people are slaves to their devices. Elite people use devices as tools. Same technology, completely different relationship. The 30-day challenge. Here's what I want you to do. Commit to 30 days. Just 30 days. Implement all 3 principles. Day 1 to 30. No phone first 60 minutes after waking. Social media apps deleted. All notifications off except calls. Journal how you feel. Day 1 will be hard. Day 7 will be harder. Day 14, something shifts. Day 21, you'll wonder how you ever lived differently. Day 30, the thought of going back will seem absurd. But here's the catch. You have to actually do it. Not try it. Not see how it goes. Commit. Because halfway measures produce halfway results. And halfway digital detox is like being halfway sober. It doesn't work. The next chapter is going to show you how to architect your time with the same precision we've applied to your environment and devices. How to structure your days, weeks, and months for maximum deep work. But all of that is built on the foundation of digital control. If your phone still owns you, nothing else matters. You can have the perfect workspace, the perfect schedule, the perfect everything. But if your pocket is vibrating every 3 minutes, you'll never achieve sustained focus. So here's your moment of truth. Are you going to actually delete those apps? Turn off those notifications? Protect your morning? Or are you going to nod, agree, and change nothing? Because reading about focus while scrolling Instagram between paragraphs isn't learning. It's entertainment. And entertainment never changed anyone's life. Action changes lives. Implementation changes lives. Deciding right now, in this moment, that your attention belongs to you and not to tech companies, that changes lives. What's it going to be? Chapter 5. Time Architecture. You've cleaned your workspace. You've controlled your devices. You've optimized your brain. But there's still one massive problem. You have no idea where your time actually goes. You sit down at 9 a.m. with good intentions. You blink. Suddenly it's 6 p.m. You've been busy all day. But what did you actually accomplish? Here's what most people don't realize. Having time and using time are completely different things. Everyone has the same 24 hours. Elite performers and average people both get 1,440 minutes per day. The difference isn't quantity. It's architecture. How those hours are structured. How those minutes are protected. How that time is transformed from an abstract resource into concrete results. This chapter is about becoming the architect of your time instead of its victim. Because right now, if you're like most people, you're not managing your time. You're being managed by it, reacting to whatever screams loudest, responding to whoever demands fastest, living in a constant state of reactive chaos and wondering why nothing important ever gets done. That ends today. The calendar lie. Look at your calendar right now. If you're like most people, it's full of meetings, appointments, and obligations. Other people's priorities filling your day. But here's what's missing: your actual work. The deep focused tasks that create real value. They're not on the calendar. They're just supposed to happen whenever there's time. Guess what? There's never time. There will never be time. Because unscheduled work doesn't get done. It gets pushed, delayed, interrupted, eventually abandoned. Here's the truth nobody tells you. If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. Your intentions don't matter. Your motivation doesn't matter. What matters is what you've scheduled, because scheduled work happens. Unscheduled work doesn't. Elite performers calendar everything, not just meetings, everything. Their deep work blocks, their exercise, their planning time, their breaks, even their lunch. If it matters, it gets a spot on the calendar. Protected, defended, non-negotiable. Average people keep their calendar for other people's priorities and try to fit their actual work into the gaps. Elite people schedule their priorities first, then fit other people's requests around them. This isn't selfish. This is essential. Because if you don't protect your time, nobody else will. 13th principle, time blocking. Time blocking is simple. Every hour of your day gets assigned. Before the day starts, not as it unfolds. Before. Here's how it works. Sunday evening or Monday morning, you map out your entire week. Every single hour gets a job. 9 to 10:30, deep work on project A. 10:30 to 11 o'clock, break and email. 11 to 12:30, meeting prep and execution. 12:30 to 1 o'clock, lunch. No phone. 1 to 2:30, deep work on project B. And so on. Most people resist this. But I need flexibility. What if something urgent comes up? That feels too rigid. Here's the reality. Flexibility without structure is just chaos with better PR. When everything is flexible, nothing is protected. Urgent things will always come up. They will always feel important. And they will always steal time from what actually matters unless you've built walls around your priorities. Elite performers understand that time blocking isn't about rigidity. It's about intentionality. You're deciding in advance how you want to spend your time instead of letting circumstances decide for you. And when something truly urgent appears, you can adjust. But you're adjusting from a plan, not from chaos. Let me give you a comparison. Average professional shows up to work, checks email, responds to messages, attends meetings, puts out fires. 8 hours later, asks, what did I actually accomplish? The answer is usually, not much. Elite professional reviews time blocks. Protects first 90-minute deep work session like it's a meeting with the CEO. Because it is. It's a meeting with their most important work. Everything else gets scheduled around these protected blocks. 8 hours later, they can point to specific, significant progress. Same hours, completely different output. Here's your implementation. Get a calendar app or a paper planner. Block out next week right now. Start with your non-negotiables. Sleep, morning routine, exercise. Then add your deep work blocks. Minimum 2 per day, 90 minutes each. Then add everything else around them. And here's the key. Treat these blocks like actual appointments. You wouldn't skip a meeting with your boss because you didn't feel like it. Don't skip deep work blocks either. Show up. Do the work. Even on days when motivation is low. Especially on those days. 14th principle. Prime time identification. Your energy isn't constant throughout the day. You have peaks and valleys. Times when your brain is firing on all cylinders. Times when it's running on fumes. Most people ignore this. They treat all hours as equal. They schedule their most important work whenever it fits. This is backwards. Elite performers identify their prime time and guard it ruthlessly. Prime time is when your cognitive performance is highest. For most people, it's the first 3 hours after waking up, before decision fatigue sets in, before meetings drain energy, before the world's demands pile up. This is golden time, peak performance time, and most people waste it scrolling social media or answering emails. Here's what you need to do. Track your energy for 1 week. Every 2 hours, rate your mental clarity, focus capacity, and creative energy on a scale of 1 to 10. By the end of the week, you'll see a pattern. Certain times consistently score higher. That's your prime time. Once you know it, protect it like Fort Knox. This is when you do your most important work, your most challenging projects, your highest value tasks. Everything else gets scheduled around it. Average people spend prime time on low-value reactive tasks. Check email first thing. Browse news. Respond to messages. By the time they get to important work, their peak hours are gone. They're trying to do creative, challenging work during their mental valley. Then they wonder why it's so hard. Elite people spend prime time on high-value proactive work. Important work gets peak energy. Reactive tasks get off-peak hours. Email happens at 2 p.m. when energy is lower anyway. Messages get batched into specific windows. Peak brain power goes to peak value tasks. Same 24 hours. Completely different alignment between energy and activity. Here's a truth bomb. You can't manage time. Time is fixed. What you manage is energy. And aligning your highest energy with your highest value work is the single most impactful change you can make to your productivity. Think about it. Would you run a marathon first thing in the morning and then try to do your most important thinking in the evening when you're exhausted? No, that would be insane. Yet that's exactly what most people do with their cognitive energy. They drain it on trivial tasks, then try to do important work with whatever's left. Stop doing that. 15th principle, the theme day. Context switching destroys productivity. Every time you shift from one type of task to another, your brain needs time to adjust. Research shows this transition takes 15 to 20 minutes. Most people switch contexts dozens of times per day. They're losing hours to mental gear shifting. Elite performers use theme days to minimize context switching. Monday, strategy and planning. Tuesday, deep creative work. Wednesday, meetings and collaboration. Thursday, deep analytical work. Friday, review and admin. Each day has a primary theme. Your brain stays in one mode all day instead of constantly switching. This doesn't mean you only do one thing. It means you organize similar activities together. On meeting days, batch all your meetings. On creative days, batch all creative projects. On admin days, batch all the administrative tasks that have piled up. Here's what this looks like practically. Let's say you're a manager. Average approach. Monday has 2 meetings, some emails, a report to write, team check-ins, and budget review. Your brain is constantly switching: collaborative mode, deep thinking mode, communication mode, analytical mode. By end of day, you're mentally exhausted and nothing feels complete. Elite approach. Monday is meeting day. All team check-ins, all collaborative sessions, all discussions. Tuesday is deep work day. The report gets written in one long session. Wednesday is analytical day. Budget review and data analysis. Each day, your brain stays in one primary mode. Less switching means less exhaustion and better output. The resistance to this is immediate. But I need to respond to people quickly. My work doesn't allow for themes. What if someone needs me? Here's the reality. Most of that urgency is artificial. You've trained people to expect instant responses by giving them instant responses. Train them differently. I respond to non-urgent matters on Wednesdays and Fridays. People adjust. And your work improves dramatically because you're not constantly fragmenting your attention. The weekly architecture. Here's how to implement all 3 principles together. Every Sunday evening, you architect your week. Step 1. Identify your 3 most important outcomes for the week. Not 20. 3. What absolutely must get done for this week to be successful? Step 2. Block prime time slots for these 3 priorities. 2 to 3 blocks per priority. 90 to 120 minutes each. These blocks are sacred. Everything else bends around them. Step 3. Assign themes to remaining time. Group similar activities. Meeting day, deep work day, admin day, communication day, whatever fits your work. Step 4. Schedule buffers. Things take longer than you think. Add 25% buffer time to every block. This prevents the domino effect when one thing runs long. Step 5. Build and recovery. You can't sprint all week. Schedule actual breaks. Actual off time. Elite performers understand that rest is part of performance, not separate from it. Most people plan their week by looking at what's already scheduled and trying to fit their work around it. Elite performers plan their week by deciding what matters most and building everything around that. Let me tell you about David, senior software engineer, constantly interrupted, always behind. Every day felt like chaos. We implemented time architecture. Prime time identified, 6 to 9 a.m. Deep work blocks scheduled, 6 to 7:30 and 8 to 9:30, Monday through Thursday. Meetings batched to Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons. Admin Friday mornings. First week felt weird, uncomfortable, like he was being too rigid. Second week, He finished a project that had been stuck for 2 months. Third week, his manager asked what had changed. By week 6, David was getting more done in 4 focused days than he used to accomplish in 6 fragmented ones. Same person, same intelligence, different time architecture. The hard truth. Everything in this chapter requires something most people aren't willing to give: saying no. No to meetings that aren't essential. No to interruptions during deep work blocks. No to other people's urgencies becoming your emergencies. No to the constant availability culture that's normalized in most workplaces. This makes people uncomfortable. They worry about seeming difficult, uncooperative, not a team player. Here's what they don't realize. Elite performers are respected not despite their boundaries, but because of them. People respect those who respect their own time. They don't respect those who say yes to everything and deliver mediocre results. Your time is the only non-renewable resource you have. You can make more money. You can build new relationships. You can learn new skills. You cannot make more time. Once it's gone forever. Average people treat their time like it's infinite. They give it away freely. They let anyone take it who asks. Elite people treat their time like the scarce, precious resource it is. They protect it. They invest it intentionally. They say no to good opportunities so they can say yes to great ones. Which approach do you want to take? The next chapter is about energy management. How to optimize sleep, nutrition, and exercise for maximum cognitive performance. But all of that is worthless if your time architecture is broken. You can have perfect energy management and still accomplish nothing if your time is constantly fragmented and unprotected. So here's your implementation challenge. Before you move to the next chapter, architect next week. Right now, open your calendar. Block your prime time. Assign themes. Schedule your 3 most important outcomes. Don't just think about it. Actually do it. Because the difference between people who succeed and people who struggle isn't intelligence. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's whether they actually implement what they learn or just collect information and change nothing. Time architecture isn't complicated, but it requires discipline. The discipline to plan. The discipline to protect. The discipline to say no to everything that doesn't align with your priorities. Do you have that discipline? Or are you going to let your time keep managing you? Chapter 6. Energy Management. Your calendar is perfect. Your time blocks are protected. Your prime time is scheduled. You sit down for your deep work session and nothing. Your brain feels like it's wrapped in fog. Your eyes can barely focus on the screen. Your body is screaming for caffeine, sugar, anything to just get through this. And you wonder why all this planning isn't working. Here's what nobody told you. Time management without energy management is useless. You can have the most beautiful schedule in the world. If your body is running on fumes, if your brain is starved of nutrients, if you're chronically sleep deprived, none of it matters. You're trying to drive a Ferrari on an empty tank. Your body isn't separate from your productivity. It's the foundation of it. Elite performers understand this. They treat their physical state like a professional athlete treats theirs, because they know that cognitive performance isn't just mental. It's biological, and biology has rules. Follow them, and you perform at your peak. Ignore them, and you struggle no matter how hard you try. This chapter is about mastering those rules. The sleep crisis. Let's start with the most ignored performance enhancer in existence: sleep. Most people treat sleep like it's optional. Something to sacrifice when deadlines loom. Something to cut back on to get more done. This is catastrophically wrong. Here's what happens when you don't sleep enough. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for focus, decision-making, and impulse control, essentially goes offline. Studies show that after just one night of poor sleep, your cognitive performance drops by 30 to 40%. 40%. You're literally operating at half capacity. But it gets worse. Chronic sleep deprivation accumulates. Miss an hour per night for a week, and you're functioning at the same level as someone who's been awake for 24 hours straight. You wouldn't show up to work drunk, but you show up sleep deprived all the time and think that's normal. Elite performers prioritize sleep like their career depends on it. Because it does. Jeff Bezos sleeps 8 hours per night. Not 6. Not whenever there's time. 8. Tim Cook is in bed by 9:30 p.m. These are people running companies worth hundreds of billions of dollars. If they can prioritize sleep, you can too. Average people, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Sleep is for the weak. I can function on 5 hours. They wear sleep deprivation like a badge of honor. They think grinding through exhaustion is admirable. It's not. It's stupid. Elite people, sleep is my competitive advantage. I protect my 8 hours. I perform better rested than exhausted. They understand that 1 hour of focused work while rested is worth 3 hours of struggling while tired. 16th principle, non-negotiable sleep. Your new rule, 7 to 9 hours per night. Not 6. Not it depends. 7 to 9. Every night. No exceptions unless there's an actual emergency. Here's how to implement this. Work backward from when you need to wake up. If you wake at 6 a.m., you need to be asleep by 10 p.m. at the latest. That means in bed by 9:30 p.m. That means wind-down routine starts at 9 p.m. Most people don't have a wind-down routine. They're on their devices until the moment they try to sleep. Then they wonder why their brain won't shut off. Here's the reality. Your brain needs a transition period, a runway to landing. Your wind-down routine should be sacred. 9 p.m., all screens off. No exceptions. Blue light suppresses melatonin. Melatonin is what makes you sleepy. Keep blasting blue light, and your brain thinks it's still daytime. 9 to 9:30 p.m., prep for tomorrow. Lay out clothes. Review tomorrow's schedule. Write down anything on your mind. Get it out of your head so it doesn't keep you awake. 9:30 p.m., in bed. Reading physical book or listening to calm audio. Not watching TV. Not scrolling phone. Creating the association, bed equals sleep, not entertainment. The resistance to this is massive. But that's so early. I'm not tired by 9:30. I'll miss out on things. Here's the truth. You're missing out on peak performance every single day by undersleeping. That Netflix show will be there tomorrow. Your cognitive function won't be if you keep sacrificing sleep. Elite performers understand that sleep isn't time wasted. It's time invested. Your brain processes, consolidates memories, clears metabolic waste, and repairs damage during sleep. Skip it, and you're not just tired. You're actually getting dumber. The nutrition equation. Your brain is 2% of your body weight, but uses 20% of your calories. What you eat directly impacts how you think. This isn't metaphorical. It's biological. Here's what most people do. Skip breakfast or grab something sugary. Coffee for energy. Lunch at desk, barely tasting it. Afternoon crash. More coffee or energy drink. Dinner while distracted. They're running on a roller coaster of blood sugar spikes and crashes, wondering why their focus is inconsistent. Your blood sugar directly affects your cognitive performance. Spike it high with refined carbs and sugar, and you'll get a brief burst followed by a crash. Keep it stable with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbs, and you'll maintain steady energy all day. 17th principle, protein first eating. Every meal starts with protein, not carbs. Protein. This single change stabilizes blood sugar, increases satiety, and provides the amino acids your brain needs to produce neurotransmitters. Here's your breakfast framework. 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking. Eggs, Greek yogurt, protein shake, whatever works for you. Just hit that 30-gram target. Most people, cereal, toast, pastry, juice, pure sugar bomb, blood sugar spikes. Insulin floods in. Blood sugar crashes 2 hours later. Brain fog. Can't focus. Reach for more sugar. Repeat cycle. Elite people. Eggs with vegetables. Protein-rich breakfast. Blood sugar stays stable. Energy consistent. Focus maintained. No mid-morning crash. Can work deeply for hours. Same morning. Completely different biochemistry. Lunch follows the same principle. Protein first. Then vegetables. Then healthy fats. Then, if you're still hungry, complex carbs. This order matters. It affects how your body processes everything else. And here's a truth bomb about food and focus. The bigger the meal, the worse your post-meal performance. Your body diverts blood and energy to digestion. That blood comes from somewhere, usually your brain. This is why you get sleepy after big lunches. Your body is prioritizing digestion over cognition. Elite performers eat smaller, more frequent meals. Or they skip lunch entirely and eat during their off-peak hours. They don't waste prime time being digestion impaired. Average people eat huge lunches, then struggle through the afternoon in a food coma. Elite people eat strategically, timing their nutrition around their cognitive demands. 18th principle, movement as medicine. Sitting all day destroys your focus. Your body wasn't designed to be stationary for 8 hours. When you sit, blood flow decreases. Oxygen to the brain decreases. Cognitive performance decreases. Studies show that people who sit all day have significantly worse focus than those who take regular movement breaks. Here's your new protocol. Move every 50 minutes. Not every 2 hours. Every 50 minutes. Set a timer. When it goes off, you stand up and move for 5 to 10 minutes. Walk. Stretch. Do push-ups. Doesn't matter. Just move. This isn't a productivity hack. It's basic human biology. Your body needs movement to function optimally. Your brain needs the increased blood flow. Your metabolism needs the activity. Movement isn't separate from cognitive performance. It's essential to it. But here's where it gets really interesting. Strategic exercise timing dramatically impacts focus. Morning exercise, especially before your first deep work block, primes your brain for focus. It increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is like fertilizer for your neurons. It improves mood. It enhances cognitive function for hours afterward. Most people, I'll exercise when I have time. Usually evening, after a full day of sitting, after their brain is already tired. Better than nothing, but missing the cognitive benefits. Elite people exercise first thing in the morning, before work, before the day's demands pile up. They're not exercising to burn calories. They're exercising to optimize their brain. The physical benefits are just a bonus. Let me tell you about Rachel. Writer. Struggled with focus for years. Tried every productivity technique. Nothing stuck. We didn't change her work habits. We changed her biology. 8 hours of sleep, non-negotiable. Protein-rich breakfast. 20-minute walk before writing. Movement breaks every hour. First week, she felt weird. Different. By week 2, her focus sessions extended from 20 minutes to 45. Week 3, she finished a chapter she'd been stuck on for months. Week 4, her writing output doubled. Same person, same intelligence, different biology. 6 months later, she told me, I spent years trying to hack my productivity. The answer was just taking care of my body. The hydration factor. Here's something so simple most people ignore it. Water. Your brain is 75% water. Even mild dehydration, as little as 2%, reduces cognitive function by 20%. 20%. You're making yourself 1/5 dumber by not drinking enough water. Most people walk around chronically dehydrated. They drink coffee, which is a diuretic. Energy drinks, loaded with caffeine. Soda. Juice. Barely any actual water. Then they wonder why they can't think clearly. Your new rule. Half your body weight in ounces of water per day. Minimum. If you weigh 160 pounds, that's 80 ounces. About 10 cups. Start your day with 16 ounces before anything else. Keep water visible at your workspace. Drink throughout the day. Average people rely on coffee and energy drinks. Wonder why they crash. Treat water as an afterthought. Brain running on 80% capacity. Elite people start with water. Coffee is supplementary, not primary. Hydration is foundational. Brain running at full capacity. This seems too simple to matter. That's why most people ignore it. Elite performers know that simple fundamentals compound into massive advantages. The caffeine strategy. Let's talk about caffeine. Most people use it wrong. They drink coffee first thing in the morning. This is backwards. Your cortisol, your natural wake-up hormone, is already high in the morning. Adding caffeine doesn't help much. It just builds tolerance. Here's the elite strategy. Wait 90 minutes after waking before caffeine. Your cortisol naturally drops around then. That's when caffeine actually helps. And limit it to 400 milligrams per day, consumed before 2 p.m. Any later, and it interferes with sleep, even if you don't feel it. Most people, coffee immediately upon waking. Multiple cups throughout the day. Last cup at 4 p.m. Wonder why they can't sleep. Sleep poorly. need more coffee to function. Vicious cycle. Elite people, strategic caffeine timing. Moderate amounts. Clear cutoff time. Better sleep. Less dependence. More consistent energy. Same drug. Completely different usage pattern. The recovery protocol. High performance requires high recovery. You cannot sprint all the time. Elite athletes don't train at maximum intensity every day. They have hard days and easy days. Peak days and recovery days. Your brain needs the same approach. Here's your weekly rhythm. 3 to 4 days of peak performance. Deep work. High cognitive demand. Intense focus. Then 1 to 2 days of lower intensity. Maintenance tasks. Administrative work. Planning. Your brain gets to coast a little. Most people try to go hard every single day. They burn out. They hit a wall. They wonder why their performance drops. It's not mysterious. You can't redline the engine constantly without consequences. Elite performers build recovery into their system. They understand that rest isn't weakness. It's strategic. It's how you maintain peak performance long-term instead of burning bright and crashing. The integration. Here's what happens when you implement all 3 principles together. Sleep, 8 hours per night. Wake up actually rested. Brain functioning at full capacity. Nutrition, protein-first meals. Stable blood sugar. Consistent energy all day. Movement, morning exercise. Hourly movement breaks. Increased blood flow. Enhanced cognitive function. Week 1 feels different. Strange. Your body isn't used to being treated well. Week 2, you notice your focus sessions are longer. Week 3, your energy is more consistent. Week 4, people start commenting. You seem sharper, more present. This isn't magic. This is biology. Give your body what it needs, and it performs. Deprive it, and it struggles. Simple cause and effect. But here's the hard truth. Most people won't do this. They'll read it, agree with it, change nothing. They'll keep sacrificing sleep, eating poorly, sitting all day. Then they'll blame their focus problems on lack of discipline or motivation. It's not discipline. It's biology. And you can't override biology with willpower. The next chapter is about mental training, meditation, mindfulness, and cognitive exercises that enhance focus capacity. But all of that is built on this foundation. You can't meditate your way out of sleep deprivation. You can't mindfulness your way through terrible nutrition. You can't cognitive exercise your way past a sedentary lifestyle. Biology comes first. Always. So here's your implementation. Tonight, start your sleep protocol. Tomorrow morning, eat 30 grams of protein. Tomorrow during work, move every hour. Just start. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for perfect circumstances. Start now. Because energy management isn't someday. It's today. It's every day. It's the foundation everything else is built on. Are you going to build on solid ground? Or keep trying to build on sand? Chapter 7. Mental training. You're sleeping 8 hours. Eating protein. Moving regularly. Your body is optimized. Your energy is consistent. But there's still something missing. Your mind wanders. Even during protected deep work blocks, your attention drifts. You catch yourself reading the same paragraph 3 times. Thinking about lunch during important meetings. Planning dinner while someone's talking to you. Your body is ready, but your mind isn't trained. Here's what elite performers know that average people don't. Focus is a muscle. And like any muscle, it needs direct training. Not just use. Training. Deliberate, systematic strengthening. You wouldn't expect to run a marathon without training your legs. Yet you expect to focus for hours without training your attention. It doesn't work that way. This chapter is about mental training. The exercises that transform scattered attention into laser focus. The practices that elite performers use daily, not because they're spiritual seekers, but because the science is undeniable. These techniques physically change your brain. Measurable, proven, powerful. The attention epidemic. Let's start with a hard truth. Your attention span is getting worse. Not metaphorically, literally. Research from Microsoft found that the average human attention span dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to 8 seconds in 2015. 8 seconds. That's less than a goldfish. But here's what the research also shows. This isn't permanent. This isn't genetic. This is conditioned. And what's been conditioned can be reconditioned. Your attention is weak because it hasn't been trained. You've been training it to be weak. Every time you switch tabs, every time you check your phone mid-task, every time you give in to distraction, you're training weakness. Elite performers train strength. They understand that attention is trainable, that focus capacity can increase, that what feels impossible now, sustaining focus for 90 minutes, becomes easy with systematic training. Average people accept their wandering mind as unchangeable. That's just how I am. Elite people treat their mind like an athlete treats their body. Something to train, something to strengthen, something to optimize through deliberate practice. 19th principle, the focus meditation. Meditation isn't mystical. It's not religious. It's not about becoming Zen. It's attention training, pure and simple. You're teaching your brain to notice when attention wanders and bring it back, over and over, thousands of repetitions, building the neural pathways of sustained focus. Here's your practice, 10 minutes per day, every day, no exceptions. Same time, same place, non-negotiable. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, focus on your breath. Count each breath, 1 to 10, then start over. When your mind wanders, and it will, notice it. Don't judge it, just notice. Then gently bring attention back to breath. Start counting from 1 again. That's it. That's the practice. Simple, not easy. Most people, I tried meditation. My mind wandered too much. It didn't work. This is like saying, I tried lifting weights. They were too heavy. It didn't work. The difficulty is the point. The wandering is what you're training against. Elite people, my mind wandered 47 times in 10 minutes. Perfect. That's 47 reps of noticing and redirecting. That's 47 opportunities to strengthen my focus muscle. They understand that the wandering isn't failure. The redirecting is the training. Here's what happens with consistent practice. Week 1. Mind wanders every 5 to 10 seconds. You spend most of the 10 minutes redirecting. Frustrating. Feels impossible. Week 2. Gaps between wandering extend to 15 to 20 seconds. Still frequent, but improving. Week 4. You can maintain focus for 30 to 60 seconds before mind wanders. Noticeable improvement in daily focus too. Week 8. 90-second stretches of pure focus. Work sessions measurably deeper. You can feel the difference. Week 12. 2 to 3 minute stretches. Focus capacity in daily life dramatically enhanced. Tasks that used to take hours now take minutes. This isn't theory. This is documented neuroscience. MRI studies show that 8 weeks of daily meditation increases gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex. Your focus center physically grows. It's not metaphorical strength. It's actual structural change. But here's the catch. It only works if you actually do it. 10 minutes per day, every day. Most people try it for 3 days. Their mind wanders. They get frustrated. They quit. Then they wonder why their focus doesn't improve. 20th principle, attention intervals. This technique combines focus training with actual work. You're going to deliberately practice sustained attention in progressively longer intervals. Start with the Pomodoro baseline, 25 minutes of complete focus. One task, no interruptions, no checking phone, no browsing, no quick looks at anything. Pure, undivided attention for 25 minutes. Timer goes off. 5-minute break. Repeat. Most people can't do this. They think they can. They can't. Try it right now. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Work on one task. Watch how many times your hand reaches for your phone. How many times you think about checking email. How many times your mind invents urgent tasks that need doing right now. That urge? That's your untrained attention muscle. Weak, flabby, unaccustomed to sustained effort. Here's your training progression. Week 1-2, 25-minute intervals. For per day, just getting baseline capacity established. Week 3-4, 35-minute intervals. Extending endurance. Week 5-6, 45-minute intervals. Approaching deep work territory. Week 7-8, 60-minute intervals. Real depth possible now. Week 9-12, 90-minute intervals. Elite level focus. Few people ever reach this consistently. Each week, you're increasing your attention endurance. Just like running. Start with 1 mile. Build to 3. then 5, then 10. Your attention works the same way. You can't jump from scattered to sustained. You build progressively. Let me tell you about Marcus, a consultant who insisted he couldn't focus for more than 15 minutes. We started with 15-minute intervals. He could barely complete one without checking his phone. Week 2, 20 minutes. Challenging, but doable. Week 4, 30 minutes. Starting to feel different. Week 8, 60 minutes of sustained focus. He called it a superpower. Week 12, 90-minute deep work sessions. His output tripled. His promotion came 6 months ahead of schedule. Same brain, trained differently. But here's what most people miss. The interval training only works if you actually disconnect during intervals. Phone in different room. Email closed. Notifications off. You're training pure focus. Every compromise dilutes the training effect. Average people do kind of focused work with phone nearby, tabs open, partial attention. They wonder why their focus doesn't improve. Elite people create pristine training conditions. Phone gone. Distractions eliminated. Pure signal, no noise. Their focus muscle actually grows. 21st principle, mental rehearsal. Elite athletes visualize their performance before competing. Surgeons mentally rehearse procedures. Musicians imagine playing pieces before touching their instrument. This isn't superstition. This is neuroscience. Mental rehearsal activates the same brain regions as actual performance. You're literally practicing without doing. Here's how to apply this to focus. Before each deep work session, 2 minutes of mental rehearsal. Close your eyes. Visualize yourself working with complete focus. See yourself sitting down, opening your laptop, starting your task, working without distraction. Feel the sensation of sustained attention. Experience the flow state before entering it. This primes your brain, sets the intention, creates a neural template for the behavior you want. Studies show that mental rehearsal improves actual performance by 20 to 30%. 20 to 30%, just from 2 minutes of visualization. Most people sit down, try to focus, wonder why it's hard. Start unfocused, stay unfocused. Elite people mentally rehearse. Prime the brain. Set clear intention. Start focused, maintain focus. Same task, different mental preparation. Here's your specific protocol. Morning mental rehearsal, 5 minutes. Visualize your entire day. See yourself executing your time blocks. Imagine maintaining focus during deep work. Picture yourself resisting distractions. Mental blueprint for the day ahead. Pre-session micro-rehearsal, 2 minutes. Before each deep work block, quick visualization. See yourself working with complete absorption. Prime that specific session. Evening review, 3 minutes. Mentally replay your day. What worked? What didn't? Where did focus falter? Where did it hold strong? Learning from your own experience. This 10 minutes of daily mental training seems small, but it compounds. 30 days is 5 hours of mental rehearsal. That's 5 hours of neural pathway building, 5 hours of intention setting, 5 hours of deliberate brain training. Average people never rehearse. They just react. Every day starts from zero. Elite people rehearse constantly. Every session is pre-primed. They're starting from a prepared state, not a reactive one. The compound training effect. Here's what happens when you combine all 3 principles. Daily meditation building baseline focus capacity. Interval training extending endurance. Mental rehearsal priming each session. Month 1, noticeable improvements. Focus sessions extending. Fewer wandering moments. Work feeling easier. Month 2, significant changes. What used to feel impossible, 60-minute deep work, now feels natural. Your mind is measurably stronger. Month 3, transformation. 90-minute sessions routine. Flow states accessible on demand. Your focus is now your competitive advantage. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. This only works with consistency. You can't meditate Monday, skip Tuesday through Saturday, and expect results. You can't do interval training when you feel like it and build capacity. You can't rehearse occasionally and prime effectively. Elite performers understand that mental training is daily, non-negotiable, like brushing your teeth. You don't skip it because you're busy. You do it because it's essential. Let me give you a comparison. Average professional tries meditation once. Mind wanders. This isn't for me. Tries focus intervals occasionally. Inconsistent. No rehearsal. Focus stays weak. Blames genetics, personality. I'm just not a focused person. Elite professional, meditates daily. 10 minutes. Every morning. Interval training integrated into work. Progressive loading. Pre-session rehearsal automatic. Focus grows systematically. Becomes their signature trait. They're so focused. So productive. Must be naturally talented. It's not natural talent. It's systematic training. But it looks like talent from the outside. The resistance. Everything in this chapter will trigger resistance. I don't have time for meditation. You have time. You just haven't prioritized it. I'm too busy for interval training. You're too busy because you're not training your focus to work faster. Mental rehearsal seems weird. Elite performance always seems weird to average performers. Here's the reality. These 3 techniques, 30 minutes per day total, will save you hours of unfocused struggling. 10 minutes meditation. 15 minutes additional interval structure, you'd be working anyway. 5 minutes rehearsal. 30 minutes invested. Hours returned. But most people won't do it. They'll read this chapter. Not along. Interesting. Change nothing. Wonder why their focus doesn't improve. The information is useless without implementation. So here's your decision point. Are you going to actually start? Tomorrow morning. 10 minutes of focus meditation. First work session, set a 25-minute timer, train the interval. Before the session, 2 minutes of mental rehearsal. Or are you going to keep reading, keep collecting information, keep doing nothing differently? Because here's the final truth of this chapter. Your focus won't improve by accident. It won't improve through hoping. It won't improve through occasional effort. It improves through systematic training. Daily practice. Progressive challenge. The next chapter is about flow states. How to access peak performance on demand. How to enter that zone where time disappears and work feels effortless. But flow requires a foundation. The mental training we've covered here is that foundation. You can't flow if you can't focus. You can't sustain peak states if your baseline attention is scattered. So build the foundation first. Train your attention. Strengthen your focus muscle. Then we'll talk about flow. The choice is yours. Train or remain the same. There's no middle ground. What's it going to be? Chapter 8. Flow State Mastery. You're meditating daily. Your attention intervals are extending. Your mental rehearsal is priming each session. Your focus is stronger than it's ever been. And occasionally, something magical happens. You sit down to work. Blink. 3 hours have passed. You've produced more in those 3 hours than you usually do in 3 days. The work felt effortless. Time disappeared. You were completely absorbed, totally present, operating at a level you didn't know you were capable of. That's flow. And here's what elite performers know that average people don't. Flow isn't random. It's not luck. It's not something that happens to you occasionally if you're fortunate. Flow is a state you can learn to access on demand, reliably, systematically, once you understand the mechanics. This chapter is about mastering those mechanics, about moving from accidentally stumbling in a flow a few times per year to deliberately entering it multiple times per week. Because flow isn't just about feeling good. It's about performance. Research shows that in flow, productivity increases by 500%. 5 times. Same person, same task, 5 times more effective. That's not a hack. That's transformation. The flow formula. Let's start with what flow actually is. Neuroscientifically, flow is a state where your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that houses your inner critic and self-consciousness, temporarily deactivates. This process is called transient hypofrontality. Your sense of self fades. Your awareness of time distorts. You merge with the task. You're not thinking about doing. You're just doing. During flow, your brain releases a cascade of neurochemicals, norepinephrine for focus, dopamine for pattern recognition, endorphins for pain blocking, anandamide for lateral thinking, serotonin for well-being afterward. This cocktail creates a state of peak performance that feels both effortless and exhilarating. But here's the key. Flow has triggers, specific conditions that increase the likelihood of entering the state. Elite performers engineer these conditions. Average people hope flow happens. Elite people make it happen. There are 3 categories of flow triggers, psychological, environmental, and social. We're focusing on the first two, the ones you can control individually. 20-second principle, the challenge skill sweet spot. Flow requires a specific relationship between challenge and skill. Too easy, and you're bored. Too hard, and you're anxious. Right at the edge, about 4% beyond your current skill level. That's where flow lives. Here's what this means practically. Every task needs to stretch you slightly. Not massively, not comfortably, slightly. You should feel like you might fail, but probably won't. That tension, that edge, that's the doorway to flow. Most people work in one of two zones. The comfort zone, doing things they've mastered. Easy, boring, no flow. Or the panic zone, attempting things way beyond their current capacity. Overwhelming, stressful, no flow. Elite performers deliberately target the stretch zone. Tasks that require their full attention but remain achievable. They're constantly calibrating. Is this too easy? Make it harder. Is this too hard? Break it down. Always seeking that 4% edge. Here's your implementation. Before each deep work session, ask, is this task appropriately challenging? If you could do it on autopilot, it's too easy. Add constraints. Set a tighter deadline. Raise the quality bar. Introduce complexity. Make it harder. If it feels overwhelming, it's too hard. Break it into smaller pieces. Find the micro challenge you can handle. Build from there. Let me give you an example. Writer struggling to enter flow. We analyzed her tasks. Writing blog posts, too easy. She'd done hundreds. No challenge. No flow. Writing a book, too hard. Overwhelming. Anxiety, not flow. We found the sweet spot. Writing experimental essays on topics she didn't fully understand yet. Challenging enough to require deep focus. Achievable enough to feel possible. Within 2 weeks, she was hitting flow states 3 to 4 times per week. Same person, same skills, different challenge calibration. Average people accept whatever task comes. No calibration, mostly too easy or too hard. Rarely hit flow. Chalk it up to randomness. Elite people actively calibrate challenge. Engineer the 4% edge. Regularly access flow. Treat it as skill, not chance. 23rd principle. Clear goals and immediate feedback. Flow requires knowing exactly what you're doing and whether you're doing it right. Vague goals kill flow. Delayed feedback kills flow. You need crystal clarity and real-time information. Here's the framework. Before starting, define success specifically, not work on project. That's vague. Complete the first draft of Section 3, approximately 800 words. Specific, measurable, clear. Then set up immediate feedback loops. How will you know if what you're doing is working? For writing, word count tracker visible. For coding, tests that run continuously. For design, frequent saves you can compare. Whatever your work, you need feedback that's immediate and obvious. Most people, vague goals. Make progress. Get some work done. No specific target. No way to measure success in real time. Mind wanders. Flow impossible. Elite people, laser-specific goals. Complete functions X, Y, and Z with passing tests. Clear feedback. Tests passing? Good. Tests failing? Adjust. Mind stays engaged. Flow accessible. Here's what this looks like across different work types. Analytical work. Clear problem to solve. Metrics visible. Progress trackable. Creative work. Specific output defined. Word count. Drafts completed. Concepts sketched. Tangible progress markers. Strategic work. Decisions to make listed. Options evaluated against criteria. Clear when each decision is complete. The pattern is always the same. Specificity plus feedback equals flow potential. Vagueness plus delayed feedback equals distraction. Let me tell you about James. Software engineer. Rarely hit flow. We examined his work pattern. Tasks like refactor authentication system. Too vague. Could mean anything. Could take hours or weeks. No clear completion point. No immediate feedback. We restructured refactor login function. Pass all existing tests plus 2 new edge cases. 90 minutes. Specific. Testable. Time-bounded. Flow states went from once per month to 3 times per week. Same work. Same code base. Different goal structure. 24th principle, deep embodiment. This is the advanced technique most people never learn. Flow isn't just mental. It's physical. Your body state determines your ability to enter flow. Elite performers manipulate their physiology to prime flow states. Here's the protocol: pre-flow breathing. 3 minutes of box breathing before deep work sessions. Inhale 4 counts. Hold 4 counts. Exhale 4 counts. Hold 4 counts. Repeat. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, calms anxiety, prompts focus. Physical anchoring. Create a specific physical ritual that signals flow time. Put on specific music. Sit in a specific position. Light a specific candle. Your brain learns. This physical state equals flow state. After repetition, the physical cue triggers the mental state automatically. Postural optimization. Sit or stand in a position that feels powerful. Research shows that body language affects cognition. Slouched, defeated posture. Scattered thinking. Upright, confident posture. Focused thinking. Your body language literally changes your brain chemistry. Sensory tuning. Control temperature. Slightly cool, 68 to 72 degrees, is optimal for cognitive performance. Control lighting. Bright enough to see clearly, not so bright it causes eye strain. Control sound. White noise, brown noise, or music without lyrics depending on task type. Most people ignore physiology. Try to access flow through mental effort alone. Sit however. Breathe however. Wonder why flow is rare. Elite people engineer physiology. Pre-session breathing. Ritualized anchoring. Optimized environment. Flow becomes accessible not through trying harder, but through preparing better. Here's a specific example. Maria, graphic designer. Flow states completely random. Sometimes happened, usually didn't. We built a pre-flow ritual. 5 minutes before each design session. Box breathing, 3 minutes. Specific playlist starts. Lights dim to specific level. Sits in specific chair at specific angle. Specific scent in room. First week, felt silly. Week 2, started noticing correlation. Week 3, the ritual itself was triggering flow. Her brain had learned the pattern. Physical cues equal mental state. Within a month, she could enter flow on demand. 8 out of 10 attempts successful. She didn't develop new design skills. She developed the skill of accessing her existing skills optimally. The flow blockers. Now let's talk about what prevents flow. Because avoiding flow killers is as important as engineering flow triggers. Flow blocker 1. Interruptions. Single biggest flow killer. Every interruption costs 23 minutes of refocus time. One quick question destroys your entire flow session. Protect your time ruthlessly. During flow sessions, you're unavailable. Period. Flow blocker 2. Multitasking. Flow requires single-pointed attention. The moment you try to do 2 things, flow dies. Close all tabs except what you need. One task. Complete absorption. Flow blocker 3. Self-consciousness. Worrying about how you're doing. Judging your work mid-process. Wondering if it's good enough. Your inner critic activates your prefrontal cortex, which kills flow. Save evaluation for after. During flow, just create. Flow blocker 4. Distraction-rich environment. Every visible distraction is a flow leak. Phone, clutter, movement, noise. Each one pulls attention. Clear workspace. Controlled environment. Flow becomes possible. Flow blocker 5. Poor preparation. Sitting down with unclear goals. Not having materials ready. Not knowing what to do next. Flow requires clarity. Prepare before the session, not during it. Average people accept all 5 blockers as normal. Interruptions happen. Multitasking is necessary. Self-judging is natural. Distractions are everywhere. Preparation takes too long. Flow stays rare. Elite people eliminate all 5 blockers systematically. Interruptions blocked by boundaries. Multitasking eliminated through single tasking. Self-consciousness postponed until after creation. Environment controlled. Preparation ritualized. Flow becomes routine. The flow stack. Here's how to combine everything into a systematic flow protocol. Pre-session, 10 minutes. Identify a specific goal and success criteria. Set up immediate feedback mechanisms. Prepare all materials needed. Clear environment of distractions. Pre-flow breathing ritual. Physical anchoring routine. During session, 60 to 120 minutes. Single task only. No interruptions allowed. Work at 4% challenge edge. Monitor immediate feedback. Stay embodied. Maintain posture. Let self-consciousness fade. Post-session, 5 minutes. Capture any insights while still fresh. Note what worked, what didn't. Adjust challenge calibration if needed. Allow neurochemicals to settle. This systematic approach transforms flow from mysterious to reliable. You're not hoping for flow. You're creating the conditions that make flow inevitable. Let me give you a comparison. Average performer sits down whenever, tries to work, gets distracted, interrupted, multitasking, judging self constantly, vague goals, no preparation. Flow happens maybe once per month. Seems random. Attributes it to inspiration. Elite performer schedules flow sessions, prepares systematically, engineers environment, calibrates challenge, sets clear goals, builds feedback loops, follows ritual, enters flow 3 to 5 times per week. Seems superhuman. Attributes it to skill, not luck. Same human brain, completely different approach. The reality check. Everything in this chapter requires setup, time, effort, preparation. Most people won't do it. They'll try to shortcut. Just get into flow without the preparation. It won't work. Flow has requirements. Meet them and it appears. Ignore them and it doesn't. You cannot hack your way into flow. You cannot force it. You cannot just focus harder. Flow is a state that emerges from specific conditions. Create those conditions and flow emerges naturally. Skip the conditions and you're just struggling through regular work. Elite performers understand this. They invest time in preparation because preparation multiplies productivity. 10 minutes preparing for 2 hours of flow work produces more than 8 hours of unfocused grinding. The math is clear. So here's your implementation. Tomorrow, engineer one flow session. Pick your most important task. Calibrate the challenge. Set clear goals. Prepare your environment. Do the breathing. Execute the ritual. Work for 90 minutes. No interruptions. You'll know if you hit flow. Time will disappear. Work will feel effortless. You'll produce significantly more than normal. That's the target state. That's what you're building toward. The next chapter is about habit stacking, how to integrate all these techniques into sustainable routines that become automatic. But flow is the peak, the state where all your preparation pays off, where all your training delivers results, where you experience what you're truly capable of. Most people never experience this consistently. They get glimpses, occasional moments. They think that's all there is. Elite performers live here, multiple times per week. They've learned to access their peak state on demand. The question is, are you going to join them? Or keep settling for occasional glimpses? Your capacity for flow exists right now. You don't need to develop it. You need to access it. And access requires engineering. Systematic, deliberate, consistent. Do the work. Create the conditions. Watch what happens. Chapter 9. Habit stacking. You've learned 24 techniques. You know how to optimize your environment, manage your energy, train your attention, and access flow states. You have the knowledge. But knowledge without implementation is just entertainment. And right now, implementing all 24 techniques feels overwhelming. You're trying to remember to meditate, track your attention, calibrate challenge, do breathing exercises, optimize your workspace, manage your phone, block your time, eat protein first, move regularly, and engineer flow sessions. It's too much. Your brain is maxed out. You're burning willpower trying to remember everything. And when willpower runs low, you default back to old patterns. This is where most people fail, not from lack of knowledge, from trying to change everything at once through sheer force of will. Here's what elite performers know. You don't change through willpower. You change through systems. You don't rely on remembering. You rely on habits. And you don't build habits one at a time. You stack them, chain them together. Create automatic sequences that require zero decision-making, zero willpower. They just happen. This chapter is about building those systems, taking everything you've learned and making it automatic. So focus isn't something you try to do. It's something you can't help but do, because your environment, your routines, and your habits make it inevitable. The willpower myth. Let's destroy a popular myth right now. Willpower is limited, severely limited. You have a finite pool each day. Every decision depletes it. Every temptation resisted costs some. By afternoon, most people are running on willpower fumes. This is why you eat well at breakfast, skip the gym at lunch, and binge Netflix at night. Not because you're weak, because willpower is exhausted. Elite performers understand this. They don't try to maximize willpower. They minimize the need for it. They build systems where the right choice is automatic, where focus happens by default, not by decision. Here's the truth. Every technique that requires active decision-making will eventually fail. You'll forget. You'll get tired. You'll make excuses. This isn't moral failure. It's biological reality. Your brain will always choose the path of least resistance. Elite performers make the right path the path of least resistance. Average people rely on willpower. I'll just remember to meditate. I'll force myself to focus. Willpower depletes. Habits crumble. Back to square one. Elite people build systems, remove decisions, create automaticity. The right behaviors happen without thinking. Willpower preserved for actual challenges. 25th principle, the anchor chain. Habit stacking works through anchoring. You take an existing habit, something you already do automatically, and chain new behaviors to it. The existing habit becomes the trigger for the new one. Here's the formula. After existing habit, I will new habit. Your existing habits are already automatic. Your brain doesn't question them. By chaining new behaviors to these established patterns, the new behaviors become automatic too. Here's your morning stack. After I turn off my alarm, existing habit, I drink 16 ounces of water, new habit, hydration principle from chapter 6. After I drink water, I do 3 minutes of box breathing, new habit, flow preparation from chapter 8. After I breathe, I do 10 minutes of focus meditation, new habit, mental training from chapter 7. After I meditate, I eat 30 grams of protein, new habit, nutrition principle from chapter 6. After I eat, I review my time blocks for the day, new habit, time architecture from chapter 5. 5 new habits. 1 automatic chain. No decisions required. Each behavior triggers the next. You're not trying to remember. The sequence just flows. Most people try to add meditation whenever I remember. Try to eat protein when I get hungry. Try to review schedule at some point. Everything requires decision. Everything fails eventually. Elite people chain everything to existing triggers. Morning sequence automatic. No decisions. No willpower. Just execution. Here's your work stack. After I sit at my desk, existing trigger, I put my phone in a different room, technique 12, nuclear option. After I secure my phone, I close all unnecessary tabs, technique 7, Sparta workspace. After I clear digital space, I set my 90-minute timer, technique 14, prime time identification. After I set timer, I do 2 minutes of mental rehearsal, technique 21. After I rehearse, I begin work, flow state ready. Again, automatic chain. Each action triggers the next. By the time you're actually working, you've executed 5 focus optimizing behaviors without a single decision. Let me tell you about Kevin. Product manager. Tried implementing everything from this book. Failed repeatedly. Too many things to remember. We built 3 stacks. Morning. Work session. Evening. Each stack, 5 to 7 habits chained together. Week 1 felt mechanical, like following a script. Week 3, starting to feel natural. Week 6, completely automatic. He stopped trying to focus. The system created focus automatically. 18 months later, Kevin told me, I thought focus was about discipline. It's actually about systems. Once the system is built, focus is inevitable. 26th principle, friction elimination. Every point of friction is a decision point. Every decision depletes willpower. Elite performers systematically eliminate friction from desired behaviors and add friction to undesired ones. Here's what this looks like. Desired behavior, meditation cushion already in place. Timer app open on tablet that stays in meditation spot. 0 friction. Sit and begin. Undesired behavior. Phone distraction, phone in drawer in different room. Plugged in. To check it requires standing up, walking to other room, opening drawer, unplugging. Multiple friction points. Checking becomes effortful. You're engineering your environment, so good habits are easy and bad habits are hard. Not impossible, just harder. That slight increase in friction is enough to break automatic patterns. Here's your friction audit. List every desired focus behavior. Meditation, deep work sessions, phone-free time, movement breaks, protein-first meals. For each one, ask, what's the friction? What makes it hard to start? Then systematically remove that friction. Meditation friction? Having to find a quiet spot. Solution, designate permanent meditation spot. Always ready. Deep work friction? Having to figure out what to work on. Solution, decide the night before. Morning session pre-planned. Phone-free friction? Feeling anxious without phone nearby. Solution, start with phone in next room, not different floor. Gradually increase distance. Movement break friction? Having to remember to move. Solution, phone alarm every 50 minutes. Automatic reminder. Each friction point removed makes the behavior easier. Easier behaviors become automatic faster. Now add friction to undesired behaviors. Social media temptation? Delete apps. Add website blockers. Require multi-step process to access. Email checking urge? Close email app. Remove from dock. Require intentional opening. News browsing habit? Remove news bookmarks. Delete news apps. Make access deliberate, not automatic. Average people accept friction as normal. I should meditate, but cushion is in closet. Space needs clearing. Too much effort. Skip it. Elite people engineer zero friction. Everything ready. Everything easy. Meditation happens because doing it is easier than not doing it. Here's a comparison. Average person trying to drink more water thinks about it, realizes they're thirsty, gets up, finds cup, goes to sink, fills cup, drinks. Multiple steps, multiple decisions. Drinks 2 cups per day. Elite person, large water bottle on desk. Already filled. Every morning. No decisions. Just drink throughout day. Hits hydration target effortlessly. Same goal. Completely different friction profile. 27th principle, the weekly reset. Systems drift. Habits erode. Without regular maintenance, even the best routines decay. Elite performers schedule weekly resets. A specific time to review, adjust, and recommit. Here's your Sunday evening protocol. Review last week. 15 minutes what worked? What didn't? Which habits held? Which slipped? No judgment, just observation. Adjust systems. 10 minutes what friction emerged? What needs tweaking? Make small adjustments, not massive overhauls. Tiny optimizations. Plan next week. 15 minutes review time blocks. Identify focus sessions. Confirm habit stacks. Mental rehearsal of the week ahead. Recommit. 5 minutes remind yourself why this matters. What you're building toward. The life you're creating through these practices. Total time, 45 minutes per week. This 45 minutes prevents the slow drift back to chaos. Keeps systems sharp. Maintains momentum. Most people never review. Systems slowly decay. Habits fade. 3 months later, back to old patterns. Wonder why nothing stuck. Elite people, weekly reset non-negotiable. Systems stay sharp. Adjustments made incrementally. Momentum maintained indefinitely. Let me tell you about Sarah. Marketing executive. Built perfect morning routine. Worked beautifully for 6 weeks. Then slowly deteriorated. Meditation shortened. Protein breakfast skipped. Phone checks crept back. Within 3 months, completely abandoned. We added weekly reset. Every Sunday, 7 p.m. Review and adjust. First reset revealed 3 friction points. Fixed them. Second reset showed morning stack starting too late. Adjusted wake time. Third reset, everything smooth. 2 years later, Sarah's routine's stronger than ever. Not because she's more disciplined, because she maintains the system systematically. The integration. Here's what happens when you implement all 3 principles. Techniques chained into automatic stacks. Friction eliminated from desired behaviors. Weekly resets maintaining system integrity. Month 1, building the chains. Feels mechanical. requires conscious effort. Month 2, change starting to flow. Less thinking required. Beginning to feel natural. Month 3, full automaticity. You're not trying to focus. Your systems create focus automatically. Month 6, old you is unrecognizable. Focus is your default state, not something you have to work for. But here's the critical point. Start small. Don't try to stack everything at once. Build one chain. Master it. Then add another. Trying to implement everything immediately guarantees failure. Week 1, build morning stack only. 5 behaviors chain together. Week 2, morning stack plus work session stack. Week 3, add evening stack. Week 4, add weekly reset. Progressive building. Each layer solid before adding the next. Average people try everything immediately. Overwhelm themselves. Fail. Give up. I tried. It didn't work. Elite people build progressively. One stack at a time. Each becomes automatic before adding next. Sustainable growth. Long-term success. The hard truth. None of this is complicated. It's all simple. But simple doesn't mean easy. Building habits requires consistency. Maintaining systems requires discipline. And most people won't do it. They'll read this chapter. Agree with everything. Maybe try for a week. Then life gets busy. The system breaks down. They stop. They tell themselves they'll restart Monday. Monday comes. They don't restart. The book sits on a shelf. The knowledge unused. Elite performers are different. They start. They stay consistent. When systems break, they don't abandon them. They fix them at the next weekly reset. They understand that perfection isn't the goal. Maintenance is. Your habits will break sometimes. Your stacks will fall apart. This isn't failure. This is normal. What matters is getting back on track quickly. Not Monday. Not next week. The next possible moment. The final chapter is going to give you your personalization framework. How to take these 27 techniques and customize them for your specific situation. How to build your unique focus blueprint. But all of that is worthless without the systems to support it. Techniques without habits are just information. Systems without maintenance are just temporary enthusiasm. But techniques plus habits plus maintenance, that's transformation. That's the difference between knowing about focus and actually being focused. So here's your implementation. This week, build one stack. Just one. Morning, work session, or evening. Your choice. 5 behaviors chained together. Execute it daily. Get 1 week of consistency. Then build the next stack. Don't try to change everything. Change one sequence. Master it. Then expand. Because sustainable change isn't dramatic. It's incremental. It's boring. It's one small stack becoming automatic. Then another. Then another. Until your entire day is optimized. Until focus isn't something you do. It's something you are. Are you ready to build? Or are you going to stay in the information gathering phase forever? The next chapter is your final step. Your personalization blueprint. Everything you've learned, customized for you. But you can't personalize what you haven't implemented. You can't optimize what you haven't built. So build. Start small. Stack habits. Eliminate friction. Reset weekly. Watch what happens. The transformation is waiting. You just have to execute. Chapter 10. Your focus blueprint. Right now, as you listen to these words, millions of people around the world are trying to focus and failing. Studies show that the average person checks their phone 96 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes during waking hours. But you're different. You picked up this book. You recognize something needs to change. And this moment, right here, is where everything shifts. Because over the next chapters, you're going to discover 30 proven techniques that will transform your scattered attention into laser-sharp focus. The kind of focus that separates the top 1% from everyone else. Let me tell you what's really happening. Your brain wasn't designed for the world you're living in. Evolution prepared you for open savannas and immediate physical threats. Not for 47 browser tabs, 312 unread emails, and a device in your pocket that's literally engineered to hijack your attention. Tech companies employ thousands of the world's smartest psychologists. Their job? Make their apps as addictive as possible. And they're winning. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. You're not lazy. You're not undisciplined. You're fighting a war against billion-dollar corporations whose entire business model depends on stealing your focus. The average person loses 2.1 hours per day to digital distractions. That's 32 days per year. By the time you're 70, you'll have spent 6 full years of your life scrolling through content you won't even remember. 6 years. Gone. Most people accept this as normal. Elite performers think differently. They understand something crucial. Focus isn't a personality trait you're born with. It's a skill, a muscle. And like any muscle, you can train it. The cost of distraction. Imagine two people, both 25 years old, both equally intelligent. Let's call them Alex and Jordan. Alex works in bursts, checks phone between tasks, scrolls social media during lunch, gets things done, but nothing exceptional. Average output, average results, average life. Jordan works differently. Phone stays in another room during focus sessions. Social media limited to 30 minutes per day. Deep work blocks scheduled like important meetings. Fast forward 10 years. Alex is still in the same position, wondering why opportunities pass by. Jordan, 3 promotions, 2 successful side projects, a book published, recognized as an expert. Not because of superior intelligence, because of one simple difference, the ability to focus. When you're interrupted, it takes an average of 23 minutes to return to full focus. Studies of elite performers across every field reveal one consistent pattern. They protect their attention like their life depends on it. Because it does. The 3 foundation principles. Now, here's where we begin your transformation. The first 3 techniques aren't fancy, but they're absolutely essential. Think of them as the foundation of a house. Skip them, and everything else crumbles. First principle, the honest inventory. Before you can fix your focus, you need to know where it's going. Right now, today, for the next 3 days, track every single thing that captures your attention. Every phone check, every random thought, every interruption. Use a simple notebook. Don't judge, just observe. Most people resist this exercise. They say they already know. Here's the truth. Everyone who actually does this exercise is shocked. We say we checked our phone a few times. The data shows 67 times. We claim we focused for a couple hours. The log reveals 17 minutes of actual focus, broken into 3-minute chunks. Elite performers measure everything. Average people guess. Which one are you going to be? Second principle, the single task rule. Multitasking is a lie. Your brain doesn't actually do 2 things at once. It switches rapidly between tasks, and every switch has a cost. Research from Stanford University found that people who regularly multitask perform significantly worse on cognitive tests than those who focus on one thing at a time. Here's your new rule: one thing at a time. Period. When you're writing, you're only writing. When you're in a meeting, you're only in that meeting. When you're eating, you're only eating. Try this right now. If you're doing something else while listening to this, stop. Give this your complete attention. Feel that discomfort? That urge to reach for your phone? That's your addiction talking. That's the distraction muscle that's been overdeveloped for years. Push through it. Third principle, the environment reset. Your environment is either supporting your focus or destroying it. There's no middle ground. Look around right now. How many distractions are within arm's reach? Your phone, probably. Maybe a TV. Clutter on your desk. 15 tabs open on your browser. Every single one of these is a leak in your focus. Small leaks sink ships, and small distractions destroy deep work. The environment reset is simple but not easy. Remove every non-essential item from your workspace. Every single one. If it's not directly related to the task at hand, it doesn't belong there. Your phone? Different room. Not face down on the desk. Not in a drawer. Different room. Elite performers know that willpower is limited. They don't rely on it. They design their environment so the right choice is the easy choice. Think about the last time you said, "I'll just check this real quick." How quick was it really? 5 minutes turned into 20. One video became 10. That quick email check spiraled into an hour of inbox management. Average people keep the temptation close and try to resist it. Elite people remove the temptation entirely. They understand that discipline isn't about being strong enough to resist. It's about being smart enough not to put yourself in situations where you need to resist in the first place. The reality check. Focusing is uncomfortable at first. Your brain is conditioned to expect constant stimulation, and when you try to concentrate on one thing, it rebels. This is normal. It's your addiction breaking. Most people give up here, thinking, I'm just not a focused person, but focus is a habit, and habits can be rewired. You're at a crossroads. Return to the comfortable chaos or take the harder path that leads to the life you want. Knowledge alone changes nothing. Action is required. Will you take an honest inventory, commit to single tasking, and reset your environment today? Or just listen and change nothing? The time for knowing is over. The time for doing starts now.